Welcome back. Our discussion is about attracting foreign investors, and we still have Mr. Volker Bromund. He is the Executive Director of Prime Consultancy. And don't forget that you can watch Revenews International through live streaming at www.cnews.com. All right. Well, recently the government. Okay. So let's take a look back. Look back at the situation where rupiah exchange rate hit the level of 13,000 rupiah per US dollar. Well, the government launched policy packages, including the facility of tax allowance to ease investors in doing their business in Indonesia. Well, Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs, Sofyan Jalil, just stated that tax allowance facility will be implemented on 6 May. How significant will the impact be on the investment climate in Indonesia?
Tax allowances have a future effect, and tax allowances play only a role when your investments are profitable and you pay tax. So the most important thing for investors is that they have a business case and their investment will be profitable not only for the next 1 or 2 years, but over a long time. So it's complementary to have some tax incentives, but I haven't heard in 20 years any investor who is first asking for tax incentives and then looking into the business case. So the business case for the investment has to come first. The legal certainty, the legal framework, the business climate, and then, as one of the other points, tax incentives play a role, but not a very significant role.
I see. But then, well, looking at the mechanism of the tax incentives to investors, of course, it will help the investment climate in Indonesia to be more conducive. But so, talking about it, which sectors in Indonesia will get the impact the most? I mean, in the positive way.
In a positive way, of course, where foreign investors invest, where the investment is large and where the contribution to their business is significant. When we talk about large investment, then it's of course in the commodity sector, in the oil and gas, in the mining sector, but also, for example, automotive companies which might come to Indonesia. They will have a look at such things because they compare it on the international level. On a smaller scale investment, it's maybe not so important.
And then talking again about the tax allowance facility here. 3 sectors in waste management and drinking water construction were excluded in the policy. So, in your opinion, do they need to be included as well?
Honestly, I don't see waste management as a significant business case where also significant investments will come in because it's more or less a political decision. Also, prices on drinking water is a political decision. Typically, these are anyhow subsidized areas. In waste management, it's the tipping fee or the fee the consumers have to pay to dispose the waste, and also what they are willing and able to pay for the drinking water. So tax allowances don't play in these 2 segments a real big matter in my opinion.
Okay, and then you mentioned earlier on that tax incentives will be about a complementary to Indonesian business climate. So actually, what matters the most in putting their investment?
The most important thing is the legal certainty. The legal certainty in all respects. The legal certainty that your investment is protected over a long period of time, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and that you have also legal certainty in case there are legal cases either on your contractual business or with employees. You know, Indonesia has a very strict, let's say, guidance on employee rights. And if somebody doesn't behave properly, and you have to fire him, you still have to pay him when he goes to court during the entire time of the court case. So it can take 12 months or longer where you have fired him, but you still have to pay him. So it's not easy to get rid of employees in Indonesia, and that's one of the points for investments, that the business climate has to be balanced between employees, between the government, but also with the investor.
And then learning from your country, Germany, what do they do there in order to attract more foreign investors to Germany? And what can we learn? I mean, what can Indonesia learn? What can Indonesia mimic? So Indonesia will have a thriving investment climate.
For example, Germany doesn't have a negative investment list. Yeah? In Germany, I think all sectors are open for foreign investors, and they can have 100% ownerships. And typically, when an investor comes, he wants to have control over his investment. He wants to have the ownership. And if there are so many sectors closed or partially closed, that confuses investors. So when investors come to Indonesia and they have first to go through a negative investment list, yeah, which is very unknown in most of the, I think, developed countries, yeah, it makes them confused. Also the land rights, that you don't have, let's say, ownership, you have only HGB on the land title, that confuses many investors. So there are things which are different in Indonesia than in other countries. Also, for example, export and import license, also something very unknown in the developing world. Everybody can import whatever he wants and export whatever he wants. And these quotas on, for example, licenses for import, for example, on salt, on meat or whatever, is something which is not very known for foreign investors.
Okay, of course there must be challenges, and you have all your projections for the economy, for the Indonesian economy in 2015, but we'll discuss it in the next segment. Make sure you're still with us on Revenews International. We still have one more segment for discussion. Stay with us.